Hello, everybody. It's July the 3rd, the eve of our nation's 250th birthday. Coming to you live from Tulsa, Oklahoma. I have Danny Couples that joined us. He says, I've got to be here for your 100th episode. Absolutely. And I was like, absolutely.
I couldn't miss it, man. I couldn't miss it.
Absolutely. 100 episodes. Ooh. You know, that's only like, there's only like, yeah, we're on fire. I'll tell you what, there's only like 8% of all podcasts that actually go past like 5 episodes. So
big milestone.
It is a big milestone. We've got 100 episodes here tonight. I want to thank everybody for being in here. Travis from Muskogee, Steph's in the house. Steph, thank you for, she had told me tonight or this evening that she'd actually made a post on the First 48 Facebook page, which on that, there you go. Danny, I think you're playing it in the background, maybe.
Yeah.
But, all right. So basically, thanks, Steph. You're fired, buddy. One more.
There goes my raise this year.
No, that's okay. So anyway, but thanks, Steph, for putting that out on the Tulsa Police Department, the First 48 Facebook page. That's pretty cool. I did not prompt her to do that. Those of you that are monitoring me in places of the police department, I had nothing to do with that. But thanks. There's like, I can't remember how many tens of thousands of people that actually follow that page. So, you know, hopefully we'll get a little bit of a bump. That'll be nice. And I want to, Aaron Greer, welcome. Phyllis, thank you for the small donation. I appreciate that. It's a little gift, and I appreciate it more than you know, believe me. You do too much. My wife told me to tell you, stop doing that, because you already do way more than you have to do or should do. But I appreciate it very, very much. It means a lot. Karen Roscoe's in the house. I appreciate you being in here. Christine Drake, Steph, of course. Just all the regular. Darren, my Aunt Sharon. Okie Crime News from Sapulpa. Welcome. I love it. All these people that come in here, it really means a lot, and I appreciate it very, very much. Freddy Ponce is like an OG. 67,000 people on the Facebook page. So that's great. It's dropped a little bit. And Christine said that she's watching and she's reading Dr. Ponce's book already. That's great.
That is
so
awesome.
And I'm going to tell you something about Freddy Ponce, and I don't expect you to be just like a First 48 connoisseur, Danny, but Freddy Ponce is like an OG. I mean, he's like my big homie in the world of homicide detectives. I have a tremendous amount of respect for this guy. And furthermore, he's kind of one of those people. I wouldn't say that necessarily he raised up through the ranks. A lot of the other detectives have. I know that Irvins Ford, I think he became a deputy chief, or he may even be a chief at this point. He's from Miami. But and then there's another guy that became a lieutenant and then from Miami. And there's several other detectives that Caroline Mason became like a lieutenant colonel or something with Memphis. But not Freddie. Freddie is probably got the distinction of he's probably elevated himself more educationally, as far as, he became a Ph.D.
Yeah.
And I liked Fernando Bosch too. He was really awesome. But he elevated himself up with respect to educating himself, and comes up with a company, and he goes all over and he speaks and he does a lot of extra things and extra stuff. And he actually consults with, I think with the Brazilian, I know with the Colombian government, he's consulted with some homicides, and he's in Brazil right now. He's actually coming to us from Brazil.
Wow.
And so we'll talk to him a little bit about that and about this case that he wanted to talk about it. He said, hey man, I wrote a book. I'd love to come back on. He was on a previous episode. If you didn't catch that and you wanted to get more Freddie, then you could check Freddie out on a previous podcast, which was a lot of fun. And one of the things that he did back in that episode that I still talk about today is just his preparation to get into that unit, which was pretty remarkable. And He's one of a kind. He really is. He's one of a kind. He attended the Forensic Academy. He's in the 55th Academy, and I believe that's at the Body Farm, if I'm not mistaken, Danny. And so he's going to know some people that you know. And so it'll be exciting to talk to him again. And I don't want to waste much of his time, but I do want to welcome everybody to be here on your holiday weekend. Hopefully, most of you got a chance to take the day off today, or you're getting Monday off. I don't know, but it's going to be an exciting weekend. It sure was hot here in Oklahoma.
We got a lot of rain today.
Did you? Well,
yeah,
we
it
did.
went from 102 to 70.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. That's nice. It went from about 102 to 106 here. It was miserable. And the bad part about where I work in the southeast part of the city is there's just not a lot of shade trees for some reason. I just don't get it. But there's just not. It's like a concrete jungle down here.
Yeah. How was your week in law enforcement?
It was all right. It was all right. It's you know what? I have a lot of irons in the fire, kind of like Freddie. I've got a lot of things that I'm working on as well. I've got a lot of communication going on with a couple of different companies to teach and do different things outside. I'm not leaving Tulsa, but I'm working on other things. And you know, I'd prefer to try to make Tulsa Police Department my part-time gig, honestly. But I don't know. It was a busy week with respect to that and doing other things along those lines. But thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Let's talk about Freddy. I want to talk about Freddy right quick. Freddy Ponce. Many of you know him from the First 48 Miami. He's one of the original people that was on that program when the First 48 came out on television. And pretty exciting stuff. I'm getting to my screen here. Sorry. How about your week, Danny? Well, I'm pulling that up.
Oh, okay. It was. It's been busy. We made a big change with the locator 911. We did a drastic price drop just to see if we can get some more sales. And we just went off 2 days ago, so really can't really tell, but it was a very, very dramatic drop. So we're excited about that. Hopefully it'll do good.
So it went from what to what?
It went from $39
Okay.
to $23.99. That sounds like, you know, we're not making a lot of money. Believe me, we're not making a lot of money on the bulbs. But if you can't sell them, you got to do something.
That's right.
You know, so.
And we'll talk more about that later in the episode because we're going to show a short trailer on that just to remind people. And that is a light bulb that essentially, if you call 911, what does it do? What does it do for us, Danny?
It does. If you call 911, then you have a fob that's got a red and white button on it. The white button activates the light just like a regular light bulb. But what it does, you hit the red one and it turns into a beacon, a red, white, and blue 4th of July beacon for first responders. It really helps us because sometimes the addresses are so hard to find all over everywhere. And this is such a help. It cuts off sometimes seconds to minutes of time for us to get there. So it's very simple. It's just a regular light bulb until you need it for an emergency. Hope you never need it, but if you do, it's there. Kind of like a smoke detector. It's always there in the background and until you need it.
Well, we'll show a little bit about that. You're a big part of that company. And so I think it's awesome. And I have one. So anyway, we'll talk about that and let people know how to get that if they choose to do that. Episode 100. Episode 100. It's a big deal. Tonight's Freddy Ponce. Freddy Ponce is a doctor. He's got a Ph.D. He's a retired U.S. homicide detective, forensics expert, and founder of the Criminal Investigations Training Group. He was a definite standout on the First 48 on A&E, and that's where many people know him. And he's an author of Beatriz, which essentially is about walking for justice for this young lady who happened to be murdered. It was a tragic murder that occurred in 2015 of a 7-year-old. And he's going to get into detail of that, which happened in Brazil. And basically it talks about the family's fight for justice. And I think they reached out to him, and he's going to get into all the details of that. Ponce is a former U.S. law enforcement officer who specialized in homicide investigations, crime scene processing, and forensic analysis. In 2015, he did work on this case. He's consulted with the Colombian government on other cases and much, much more. He's basically he's an impressive guy, and I'm not gonna talk any more than that, than just to bring him on, because he has a lot of irons in the fire, so to speak. Welcome, Freddy.
Welcome,
Hey.
Freddie.
You're like
Thank you, guys.
you're a big deal, man, in the homicide world. You're making a real splash, and you teach a ton, and you've made the most of your opportunity from that point to really. I don't know where you find the time, buddy. I really don't. I mean,
Hey, I want to congratulate you and your team there for your 100th episode. Not many podcast shows even get this far, so you're in that rise to take you where you want to go, is where a lot of people take a risk in doing something and not knowing where it's going to go, and that's okay,
right?
Because we'll know what to deal with what comes. And since we're all so positive minded in our lives, that negative is not coming in, so you'll be able to identify the good decisions you're going to make for the future of your podcast, and it's going to be amazing for you. You get that feel for this that attracts a lot of people when you know how to interview guests. A lot of podcasters out there have a difficult time doing that, but you definitely got that skill. So I know you're going to be very successful in it. So
Thanks, buddy. Do you know Christine Drake? Do you know Christine Drake in the house? She's from Miami. Apparently, she's a huge fan of yours, because she's already reading your book, buddy.
Yeah, I got a lot of It's I did a pre-launch a couple weeks ago, and here in Brazil, and then I just started another pre-launch now, so we're starting to get the word out before I do some official launches. But it's you were talking a little bit about getting your hands into opportunities, and it's just a matter of getting after it, man. Not just sitting around waiting for an opportunity to come to you. Just you designing your destiny in your life, how you want it to be. And doors start opening up all of a sudden, then you just make a decision which one is good for you and which one are going to be the ones you're just going to say no to. But it's constantly you making something happen for yourself. And nobody's going to make anything happen for yourself.
You're right.
Absolutely.
You talked a little bit about my education, and then the decisions I made during my law enforcement career. Mine was not the administrative rise up and rank. My friends are now assistant chiefs of police in many police departments, or chiefs of police in other departments that have left Miami or stayed within the ranks. That very well could have been me, but I chose a higher education route, and to be in front of students, my criminal justice students at the universities I teach at, and to educate myself so I can better service the community and the people that I deal with with my consultant, because we do learn from our senior investigators. They do teach us a lot. But reading is really important. And professional researchers who are in the field of criminal justice and education, and psychologists, psychiatrists have a lot to teach. There's a lot to learn from them, and you become a much, much better investigator. Or as we are as police investigators, we're actually researchers, is what we do. We're researching all the time, and that's how we design an investigation, is through research. We have to follow the scientific method to be able to have an ethical investigation, and one that will serve the community, and one that will be presented in court as a very strong case. So the more we educate ourselves, we're going to have a much better case file presentation. Yeah.
What's interesting is that you see investigators throughout the country when you speak, not only here but elsewhere. Where do you think that is the areas that you notice, not to throw any specific area down, but as far as an agency or anything like that, but where do you think that we're really lacking? Something that you just see as an area that needs to be focused on?
as you're asking as an agency or as an investigative unit?
Probably more so as like an investigative unit or just the detective themselves.
Yeah, I think, it's like, anything that everybody wants is funding for your unit, but specifically funding for training. You want an all around investigator to have the knowledge that they need. Specific knowledge that's even more technical is really crime scene investigator. If you don't know the life of a crime scene investigator as a homicide investigator, you're really cutting yourself short. I mean, you really, at minimum, on your day off, do it right along with your own CSI people that you work with daily. We see them in the hallways. We may have to go to their office because you're following up on evidence or something, or you see them at the scene. But you truly want to be with a crime scene investigator from 7 o'clock in the morning till whatever the 10 hours is, and really learn a lot from them. You really, really do. You got to spend some time with them. So the schooling that they go to is very advanced. I would have to say that their schooling is a lot more advanced than a homicide investigators schooling or courses that they go to. So the knowledge, I mean, we know all the facets of a crime scene investigator. It's just like blood spatter evidence, fingerprinting, DNA. It's just so much discipline to learn, and they have to go to all those schooling, and the best ones for us are the interviews and interrogation courses and management and case management. That's really what the homicide investigator manages. They know how to use the resources and the right people put it all together. We're the managers of the case. But when it comes to something so technical, understanding how to read a scene, the CSI people control that. They really do. They really have the knowledge to control a scene. So yeah, funding for training for sure.
Yeah.
Well, what about like working with each other or working with other agencies? Is it like important for these guys to understand how to per se like working? Because I know a lot of things you're working with different agencies.
We have working. I'm sure like Tulsa. You guys work with Light Horse Police Department. You guys are right there neighboring to each other.
Yeah.
Everybody's all friends. Everybody knows each other there, and most of the cases overlap one or the other because they're offenders across the jurisdictions.
Mm-hmm.
So same as in Miami, City of Miami, we're inside Miami-Dade County Sheriff's Office. We had a desk at Miami-Dade County Homicide Office. We had a desk there, and you'd come into work one day at Miami Homicide, City of Miami Homicide Office, and there'd be a county guy been there 24 hours. He's sleeping on my desk.
Wow.
And hey, that guy, let him have a rest. And let me go find somebody else, another desk. So our offices just communicated with each other all the time. So there was never this bordering issues of everybody's all working together. So
that's good.
Yeah. You got to have that relationship. You got to have networking. You should be able to know in your whole county. I mean, I don't know what the county's like where Tulsa's at, but you should know every homicide investigator in all those police departments. Everybody should know each other. Everybody.
Yeah, that's kind of a shame that it's not that way. I've always kind of been under the belief that when we get a gang homicide, there should be a gang guy that shows up in our office. Period. They should be at the scene. They should be telling you, okay, this is his baby's mama. This is what's up here. Mm-hmm. This is who he's beefing with. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen on occasion, but it needs to be an automatic. Or if it's a sex crime kind of a death or something along those lines where it could have been a rape murder, then sex crimes needs to be automatically contacted. They should be letting us tap into their knowledge level because, they're the subject matter experts in that particular area. And for whatever reason, that just never seemed to be something that just really caught on, even though I would constantly be going, they're like, why are you calling this person? Or because we don't know what we're doing when it comes to that crime type,
Yeah.
We need to have that expertise there. And, so I'm not saying that some of those guys don't give you a call and stuff because they're the ones monitoring the Instagrams and the Facebooks and all this other stuff of these offenders. And so, and it saves, it solves cases from time to time.
Yeah, that's a high command issue, not even a high command, just a mid-management issue, Jason. That's, that's interagency policy that it should be just written down You guys come to a scene, you know the victim's gang member, automatically call.
Yeah.
When you receive, if you're a commander of a sergeant in gang and you receive a call from a homicide guy on scene, you already know there's interagency policy. That's what you need to do. They're going to send your guy out. Nobody bitches about it or complains about it. Just get out there. And then once a policy is set and then everybody's fine. Everybody's got to do it. When there's no policy set, then you start controlling your own management. You know, start deciding if I go or not go, and why are you telling me to go? That's where the problem is. That it's middle management issues. That's all it is.
Hey, I want to remind people about let's go back just briefly, just to kind of re-educate people as far as your journey into the world of homicide. When you joined Miami, you just didn't get into homicide, but you started out in another way. Let's talk about that, and then I want you to talk about that. What I've talked to many, I've told your story several times, Freddie. You have no idea. I'm so impressed with you know, kind of your book you put together, and I want you to mention that again because I think that's really unique, so to speak. And so let's talk about your journey with the police department and how you ended up getting into homicide. What interested you to get there to begin with?
Well, you know, prior to law enforcement, you know, I was in the military prior to coming in. So I came in the Ph.D. at like 28, 27 years old. I was already interested in interviewing prior to me entering police department because I was a private investigator at a very young age. I was 19 years old, really not doing anything in my lifetime. And I had this really good friend in Miami, or my older friend of mine did. And they say, can you give this guy a job? And then go see this guy. He runs a detective agency in Miami. They always need drivers to go chase people down and take pictures and videos of locations. It's simple, something for you to do. Man, and I caught that bug. I really did catch that bug. And I started liking the whole thing about, you know, extracting information from asking people questions. And they were the first ones when at 19, when they sent me to my first interrogation school. I'm 58 now. I still learn from it. I teach it, you know, and that's where I cut that bug. So my goal was, after I got out of the military, I knew I needed some life experience before I go into the PD. I didn't just want to go in at 19, 21 years old. I went off to the military. When I get back, my whole time there, I knew when I was going to come out that I wanted to go in and interview sex offenders. That's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to interview, work in the sex back unit, now called the Special Victims Unit. Man, it was hard to get in there. And the guys that were in the sexual battery unit, they would leave. And if they would have one opening, the list to get in was like 12, 13 people, and everybody was senior. You know, what I had going for me is that I had a little bit of experience. I already had a couple of certificates under my belt with interviewing. I had those skills. I had some knowledge. I did do some reading, but it was tough. It was really hard. I couldn't get into the sex bat unit. So then the openings started coming into homicide, and so that was what I felt at the time was the next best thing for me. And you know, after 3 attempts of interviewing and getting denied, I finally got in. And they shipped me right to midnight unit. And the beautiful thing about working homicide midnights was the only other investigators that worked midnights was the sex bat unit. And their office was right next to ours. And there was only one investigator in sex crimes working midnights, and me and my team. So wherever we told them, come join us. We're all working the same shift. We'll go to your scenes, you come to our scenes, and we start learning from each other. Man, that was like the best of both worlds for me, because it's exactly what I wanted to do. I speak Spanish, so I was able to translate on their cases, and I sat on interviews or interrogating sex offenders, you know, for 11 years, almost at midnight, and then I went 5 more years on day shift after that. I loved it. It was an amazing time. I loved it.
I didn't know that. I don't think we talked about that the last time you were here. I didn't realize that you kind of went out on all those scenes as well. That's Makes great sense, actually. Instead of sitting in the office, not being productive, why not? You know,
Right.
This a lot of our homicide offenders are sex offenders. A sex offense case, rape, is like one behavior away from murder. It's like one incident away from a murder. Raping is such a violent crime that the person is uncontrolling of their own behavior, that why not kill right after that? So I am absolutely sure that sex battery unit in Miami is amazing. That they saved the city from a lot of serial killers, from the cases that they were able to arrest. And where do sex offenders come from? They come from male dominating domestic violence offenders. It's a progression.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's why we love bringing in to the homicide unit domestic violence investigators.
Look at Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer, he's a prime example of that.
Well, I mean, these sexual related,
Yeah.
we've ran across females that are naked and in trash cans or dumpsters, and more than one of them. And so, of course, when there's a female that's naked, anybody naked, I start thinking sexual related. I'm not going to tunnel vision on it, but my mind is in that wheelhouse, believe me. So that's interesting. You didn't really, you're selling yourself short just a little bit, because what I remember you talking about is you used to just hang out in the homicide unit, like on the weekend, and go, hey, tell me about how you interview these people. And then after talking to them for like an hour, Freddie, you'd have them sign a piece of paper, and you're like, here, sign this.
Yeah. So I got that from when I was in the military. They taught that in the military. You want to move up in rank, or you want to move to a different division, you have a notebook with you, and on your time off, go hang out wherever it is that you want to go hang out for an hour, learn from wherever it is that they're teaching you, and then you write the topic. And I said, hey, listen, can you sign right next year that I was here with you for 1 hour? So it was so hard getting into homicide. I said, I got to have an edge somehow when I go do my interviews, because everybody else is way ahead of me in experience. I said, I went to some courses. So I said, you know what, I'm going to do this thing. And then what happens is when you're trying to recruit a homicide investigator, and you see some guy keeps coming to your scene, an officer, because he likes it, oh, that guy's pretty crazy. What the hell's he doing here? He's interested.
Yeah.
Or that he keeps coming into your office. Hey, what's up, guys? Can I come hang out for a little bit? Hey, talk to me, about a scene. Talk to me about interviewing. Talk to me about this. Can you sign here? Sign here. So I had my pad stacked with hours on my own time. And then when the interview came, when I showed them that pad, they were like, poof. They were like blown away.
Game over. Game over, man.
Yeah, it was over. It was over.
Have you ever seen that since when you left out of there? Did you ever see any other detectives doing that?
Nobody.
No, that's a military thing. I teach that to my students when I tell them, or then they call me and listen, I'm about to go to an interview. I said, okay, you need to go do this, and that. You need to have your book ready with all your certificates. Present everything that you've done. Send me your CV. Let me look at it, and I'll go through your CV, and we'll go at it together. So call me after the interview, see what happened.
Wow, that's inspiring. Really, it really is.
Yeah.
Well, it is, because you're just not an instructor that just speaks and then you're out the door and that's it. You're available to them after that, which is pretty special too.
Yeah. Every training course is about every training course you finish, you should have a task for your students to do after they leave. You teach a 40-hour course, and then this is what you're going to do with it now. Not like, thank you, here's your certificate, have a nice day, good weekend. Now, in the next following weeks, this is what you should be doing. So there's always a follow-up, and I'm available to them and for any coaching that they want, just because being a part of my course. So
yeah, that's good.
you got to pass it along. I mean, you got to help others. We find a way. It's fulfilling. It's enrichment. It makes you feel good that you're helping somebody else with a case, or they're going to go into an interview. Hey, I was in your class. Yeah, man, I'm available for you. Let's schedule a time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. CV, just for those of you that don't know what that is, it's a curriculum vitae, or it's basically a more extensive resume, really. It's multiple pages. Yours is probably about 50 pages, Freddie, based on what you've done. But it's just a more, I didn't even know what it was until I applied for a course in New York City. And they're like, yeah, you need to submit a CV. And I'm like, a CV? What the heck is that?
Short resume.
Well, it's
so what we'll tell the officers here that are watching, or we can tell in the future, every training course that you go to, you receive a certificate. You're going to write that down it's part of your list of your CV. You're going to go to a homicide conference somewhere. You're going to write that down. You're going to go teach somewhere. You're going to go speak somewhere. You're going to put that in there. Anywhere you're called to do an interview, to help other people, a conference, a meeting, whatever, put it down. Organizations or memberships. Now that's something that's really important that all investigators should be a part of. National Homicide Conference, Regional Homicide Conference members, International Homicide Conference, that you're a member, American Forensic Sciences, National Medical Examiners memberships. Be part of all these organizations, and the fees are really, really short. They have a lot of free online courses. Florida Crime Scene Investigations Association, Association for Identification memberships are great. A lot of free courses there. So,
really,
it looks good. It looks really good, man.
Well, I live in Tennessee. I'm sorry about that, Jason. I live in Tennessee. I heard you've done some training here close to where I am.
Yeah, so if you're near Oak Ridge, Tennessee, that's where the National Forensics Academy is at.
Right.
10-week course there. I went through one of their sessions there, and I lived there for 10 weeks. I was there for 10 weeks, and then nonstop. It had nothing to do with the homicide unit of Miami sending me to, because it's very expensive for the police department. I paid that out of my own pocket.
Oh, wow. Do you work at the body farm?
Yeah.
I trained at the body farm with Dr. Bass.
Yeah, Dr. Bass and Dr. Heather Walsh-Haney is one of my partners and great friends now. We met at the body farm. It's been there like 5 years now. And we teach together with my company. We tour around and do some courses.
Hugh Berryman, he works with them too, or did. He's a forensic anthropologist.
Yeah. The body farm session is a week, so we're there for a week, searching and digging.
Wow.
Just out of curiosity, what's that 10-week program cost? What's something like that cost? I know they have
5 years ago. 5 years ago, that was about $11,000.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, that's big
but
money.
It includes your stay. It includes your stay for 10 weeks, and they pair you up with another investigator from somewhere else in the country. 2-bedroom apartments, 2-bathroom apartments. Everybody's got a suite apartments, full kitchen. Real nice place. Everybody lives in the same community. Everybody's attending the course. It's about 25 to 30 in the class, and everybody's all together for 10 weeks straight doing all forensics, laboratory work, everything, explosives, anthropology, forensic photography, interview interrogations, behavioral science, blood spatter, investigation, identification. It's hardcore CSI. And then national certification as well.
That's crazy. That's really good. There's not very many people that probably attended all of that in this country, really. I wouldn't think. You're the 55th class. And so what's the class size, generally speaking? What's the size of it?
25. It's 25 to 30 people in the class, and they only do about 3 sessions a year, 3 to 4 sessions a year.
Wow. There was a course that I really wanted to go to in San Luis Obispo, California, where they actually burned up bodies and stuff like that. They actually, it's part of the fire training, and they'll actually burn up corpses and stuff just to study the
warping of the bones.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, but unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do that. I was I was really wanting to do a little bit more of the fire end, because fire deaths are really hard. They're really tough.
Yeah, they sure are.
Yeah. It's just messes up the whole scene. Yeah, I've had several. Yeah.
So you ended up doing this program, and is that when you started your criminal investigation training organization?
Yeah. I had, I retired in 2019 from the Ph.D., and a year before I had opened up the company, knowing what I was going to be doing when I retired. And
Nice.
then I immediately, as soon as I stepped one foot out, I was already teaching the courses, teaching my classes to the different agencies. So either, I'll move around, go to their agencies, or they'll come to Miami or wherever I set up the courses.
And how is that working out for you? Are you getting a lot of stuff on the schedule working out pretty well?
Yeah, I try not to keep myself too busy impeding with my retirement, because I don't want to have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And I really don't call it a job, because I love to help investigators, and part of putting the course together is for the networking part of it. Just you networking with investigators inside one room. It's like having a big task force meeting for a whole week. That's what we do. We do case analysis, all week long, and it's a lot of fun. So it's not really work for me, but yeah, I enjoy my time off as well, and I have cases that I consult on for families that call me. They reach out to me, on Instagram or Facebook, and can I talk to you? Can you help me? And then we roll from there. Just start working.
It's impressive.
Just start working.
So let's jump into this. You reached out to me. You've just completed your first book, and it's Beatriz. And I'd love to hear kind of how that all started.
There it is. Yeah, Beatriz Walking for Justice. So this is a story of a 7-year-old girl, family in Brazil, that she was stabbed 35 times in her school, where there was a graduation ceremony at night, where her oldest sister, who was 18 at the time, was graduating that same day. So she was, Beatriz was like in the 4th grade in that same school, Catholic school, right across from a major cathedral in the city of Petrolina and the state of Pernambuco in northern Brazil. But I'll tell you a little bit of history of how I got there, how I got into the case. So from 2012 to 2016, Miami PD had a contract with the State Department and the government of Brazil, where police were traveling to Brazil, American police departments traveling to Brazil, or Brazilians coming to us. And that networking or that relationship with Brazil had been going on for a long time, and it still is today, regardless of the politics. We've been a big family, and if you work international policing and have networked in these conferences that we go to, these international law enforcement conferences, you're going to be meeting police people from all over the world. And it's not a bad idea to invite them for a drink. So anyway, they came to me in the homicide unit. I was already training the homicide investigators with my training courses, with my homicide investigation course in my unit. So the homicide commander at the time was, I don't know if it was Burmaster or Eunice Cooper or one of them. And said, listen, I understand that you're teaching, you teach classes. This contract is coming up with the State Department. We need, for you to travel down to Brazil with your course to train the Brazilians. So we did that. We did that for about 5 years. traveled to like 10 different states all around the country of Brazil. The networking was amazing. Each auditorium was like 45, 50 people. And it was same thing we were doing in Miami, one week courses. It's like from Monday through Friday, from 8, to 5, and then from 5 to midnight, hanging out with these people, having drinks, networking every single one of these people. And we did that for a very long time. So Beatriz was killed December of 2015. So I get a phone call about March of 2016 from one of the investigators that was in my class in the city of Recife, in Pernambuco, which is the capital of that state, which is an ocean on the Atlantic side, north side. So we got this case with this little girl. Do you think you can help us out? I said, no problem. So I get a law enforcement officer calling me anytime from anywhere. I need your help. I'm there. What do you need? Where do you want me and at what time? Let's figure it out. So we started doing that, and they began sending me case files, medical examiner reports, CSI reports, and I started analyzing the whole case. The problem that started to happen with the case is that they started firing the investigators. Their internal management system is all broken. Their structure is all completely broken. However, even how your structure is set up as an investigative unit in Tulsa is, when you hear how they do it in Brazil, they're state police, they're not city. And it's all broken. The structure's all broken. It's a lot of ego issues are going on. Like with the CSI people, they want to be the one to solve the case. They're always fighting with the homicide investigators. They fight amongst each other. Who's going to get credit? They're really ego driven. Then politicians get involved. It's a young girl in a rich school, and she was going to the school with financial aid because her father was also in the school as a teacher. He was a math and English teacher at the school. So it got very political. So it's like politicians wanted to resolve the issue. They couldn't figure out why the investigators couldn't do it. And they started firing all the investigators, and I started losing my contact. I was well into the case, deep into it. So I started losing communication with them. I reached out, now here are years passing by, and I'm trying to get a sense through a different networking that I have through other Brazilians to reach out to the investigators that got fired. They got fired from the homicide unit, but they got sent to other units. So I'm able to reach them, and we're trying to communicate a little bit, but it gets broken up. They cut their WhatsApp messaging so they wouldn't message with me. So I went through the American consulate in the capital of the state, and I reached out to some of my friends at the State Department in Brazil, and I said, listen, I have a team of people in Miami that are willing to help out the police in this case that they reached out to us. We have a history. And it's like, Fred, we'll do whatever you want. We'll help you. Let's reach out to the governor and to the Secretary of State for that state and to help out. But they cut us off. They're not responding to us, Fred. We're trying everything that we can, but I started getting the picture of they're not wanting the Americans to come to their country and solve a case, and embarrass them in any kind of way. So I got that part. So I got no problem. So I made several attempts to contact the investigators, and we're not able to work together anymore. It's pretty much they've told them, if you work with this guy, you are fired from this police department. You're gone. Wow. So no, I said, you know what, that's just an obstacle. It's my minor obstacle for me. My plan was, I'm gonna get a hold of the family. My plan was, I'm gonna go to Brazil. That was my thinking. So what's happening online is on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook is that the family is protesting more, and the community is protesting more and more. They want answers on the case. And as that's happening, my Instagram feed and algorithm is merging with Brazil's our algorithm. So every time I link up on my phone, everything comes up Brazil, 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 Brazil. And I just keep seeing this family crying, asking for help. Somebody help us. The police is doing nothing. They're not helping us. I get a call from one of my informants, law enforcement contacts in another state. They had a task force meeting of crime scene investigators, and he was in there. They were discussing the case. He's like, Fred, you're not gonna believe that they got the case file that's a box, 2 boxes inside of a bathroom, and it's been in that bathroom for 2 years. They haven't touched the case.
Wow.
Man, I was like tossing it. So, my nights were like tossing and turning. I couldn't sleep. All I would think about is Beatriz. That's all I would think about her all the time. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go to Brazil, man, because Lucinha, Beatriz's mother, she was always on the street. I couldn't get a hold of her. I tried to reach out to the investigators to reach out to her, that I wanted to talk to her, and I wouldn't get any response back. So she was on Instagram a lot doing live, they do that live messaging stuff. And she would do like an hour's worth of lives talking about justice, fighting for justice. I keep, and she needs help. Somebody help us. The police is not doing anything. Everybody's corrupt. The city's corrupt. The state is corrupt, and all this business. So I said, you know what? Let me see if I can send her a message on Instagram. So when she's in one of those lives, I log in, and I'm in, and I start typing, "Hi, my name is Detective Freddy Ponce. I'm a homicide investigator from Miami. I want to help you." Boom, my message would go like this, shoo, boom, boom. It was so many people typing in.
Wow.
I was like, I couldn't even see my message. It was going by so fast. So I made them longer. Nothing, man, was just like flying by. So I like just getting frustrated. Boom, the pandemic hits me. 2019, can't travel anywhere, can't go anywhere. So I see on Instagram a blogger blogging about the case. They set up this real nice setup, PowerPoint presentation, talking about Beatriz and the whole case and the whole thing. So I said, look, there's not many people responding to this blogger. Let me see if I can through there. So I send a message to that person, that blogger on Instagram, and the lady responds. And I said, listen, I'm a homicide investigator from Miami. I want to help Lucinha and Sandro, or Beatriz's father. Do you know them? Do you know this family? And they said, yeah, they live in my city. Of course I know who they are. I said, can you talk to them? Can you call them and tell them, that I exist, that I've been trying to reach out to them for years now. Yes, no problem. I'll take care of it. Weeks passed by, man, no response, nothing. I reached out to this blogger again. Hey. And I said, listen, I reached out to her and I told her she's going to get back to you. Can you give her my email? Or can you get get her email? I want to write her a letter. So another week passes by. I get Lucinha, Beatriz's mother's email, and I write her a letter. The same history I just told you, I wrote that in a letter.
Wow.
So I'm a homicide investigator from Miami. I want to help you with your case. Nothing, man. A week passed, 2 weeks passed, nothing. No response. And meanwhile, my life is just like upside down. I can't sleep. And
well, you don't speak Portuguese, right?
I do now.
Okay. Wow.
And back then it was like, I speak Spanish. So while I was getting those phone calls from my friends and us traveling to Brazil, I could defend myself getting around Brazil. When we were in the military, we went to Brazil. So we can do a couple of things and we understand a little bit if you speak slowly, but now I do. And then, man, one morning, I log into my Gmail and boom, there's the email, and she responded to my letter.
Cool.
And then we set up a meet for a Zoom meeting Saturday mornings, and we did Saturday mornings for several months, and then it was like 3-4 times a week. and we discussed the case back and forth, and we turned into a relationship where I was, with her and her husband, where I said, look, we don't need the police. Just, I don't want to get in too much into the book, but my conditions were this. The first day I met her, I said to her, you're going to listen to everything that I tell you. You're going to do everything I tell you, and you're not going to fight me about it. I'm going to train you how to be a homicide investigator. And the day that we catch the offender who killed Beatriz, you are going to pass it along and help other families. Are you in? And both of them were sitting right there. They looked at each other, just, we're in.
Wow.
And it rolled from there. The book is Beatriz Walking for Justice. Lucina's was in the abyss. Beatriz's mother was going to kill herself. This is a story not just about an investigation of a 7-year-old girl. It's a story about love, about a husband who saved his wife from killing herself, saved her life, Beatriz's mother.
Wow.
It's a story about two communities, because they're two states that connect through a bridge over a river, but two communities that got together to save the life of a family. And a story that tells you from tragic trauma and how to surge out of that into perseverance, persistence, insistence for justice. So when that community, family and friends got together and got her out of that hospital, and me training her and telling her what she needed to do and know how to read a case file, a homicide case file, when I taught her how to look at evidence, I taught her how to read a crime scene report, how to understand what it is that the police does and doesn't do. She sent me 26 volumes of that police report. Each volume was 400 pages.
What?
I read every single page of that case file. And I showed her what's garbage and bullshit and what's missing that is supposed to be in there and is not. And she became a homicide investigator, where she was going after and interviewing people. And when she got that energy and strength back, her body came back and she got stronger. The protests, every time she had a protest, it would be more scaling. She was rappelling off of bridges. She was chaining herself up to, on the street, stopping traffic at 6 o'clock in the morning on a Monday morning, and start escalating until they made a decision to walk from her city in Petrolina to the capital of Recife, 800 kilometers in 23 days, straight, 19 marathons in protest for justice. And we were walking through, working those years together, and me helping them, clear their heads of the trauma to a certain extent where she's able to understand how to reason and what the investigation was doing that was wrong, not figuring out who the subject was, who the offender was, or how to do a proper psychological profile on the offender and how to find him. So she was blurred in a sense because of her trauma, obviously, what she would be going through. So the more clear I was able to talk to her to get out of the trauma, then she was able to understand the case better. And that's what the whole book is about.
That's neat. Do you mind if we show the trailer? Is that okay?
Yeah, if you want to show the 3-minute trailer, that's fine. It's on my website, and yeah, sure.
Let's show it, Amanda. Let's show the trailer.
Leandro trabalhava no Colégio Maria Auxiliadora.
Sometimes Beatriz was with them, and sometimes Beatriz was with me.
Sempre no nosso campo de visão. Entre alunos, funcionários, familiares, pouco mais de 2.000 pessoas. Meu sobrinho disse: cadê Beatriz? Gente, vocês viram Beatriz? Não, nós não vimos Beatriz. Olhei para o parque, tudo escuro.
My heart was bumping. My life that night changed. I entered the place, one person. I left someone else.
Beatriz foi assassinada com uma faca de cozinha. 42 perfurações.
I can't remember seeing such a brutal case.
Existiam 5 linhas de investigação e nenhuma estava fechada.
Existe a suspeita de vingança contra o pai de Beatriz. Outra hipótese é um ritual de magia negra.
Por que as câmeras não filmaram?
O ex-funcionário da escola, onde é suspeito de ter apagado as imagens da câmera de segurança do colégio.
Ele olha as imagens, apaga-se tudo. Não era interesse do colégio que o caso fosse descoberto.
Justiça por Beatriz!
Vamos pegar as mãos para fechar a ponta.
It was strong because the national media was there.
Se você continuar com esses movimentos, nós vamos fazer algo contra vocês. Tinha outro inimigo, que era o Estado.
We spoke to the security minister and there's no response back.
Nossa equipe quer viajar a Petrolina a trabalhar com você.
I can work with this lady. I don't need the police.
Eu vou até o fim. Nada vai me parar.
Wow.
I think it's an incredible story,
Incredible.
Freddie. Yeah, to do what
It's,
you did, it's amazing.
I get emotional every time I see that.
Wow.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, just to be able to do what you did, and when you start getting some of this information and you start working with the family, I'm just curious, and not to give away any secrets of the book, but you know, what was the reception from the police department when you were actually starting to make some movement on this? Because you know how it is, man. Most departments are yeah, they don't really, thanks, and they don't really want you involved in their investigation, really. So what was that like?
Yeah, I had informants already in the agency that was working the case, and in the agency, it was still part of the same agency. It's a statewide agency. There were different cities and in other states that were helping me, feeding me information. And because I knew these people, the network that we did. So the investigators from the inside were like, really, listen, we can't talk to you. So don't make this public that we're talking to you. We just cannot make it public that we're talking to them. I understood this from the very beginning that this could be a really gray area. And before I actually went to Brazil to meet the family, there were some of my concerns. I think that, they can allow me even into the country because I don't want to be accused of interfering with something. But, you know, networking worldwide or networking within your own county is the same. It's just like you're maintaining in contact with people and you become friends with these people, and you never know when you're going to help each other for something. And in this case, it works. Networking really works. So when I tell my students, I tell them, hey, bring your challenge coin, bring your patches, This is not just, hey, we're switching coins to have a collection. It's something more meaningful. It's really meaningful what's happening here. And something's going to happen, and it does. And you know what you do? You seize the moment, and you do it. You say yes. A lot of people going to wash their hands. So the question is, what are you willing to do, and how far are you willing to go to help somebody out when they need help, when they're in dire strait? These people, I knew about the case for over a year before, or more, before I even talked to the mother. She had no clue that I existed. No clue. And I already had full knowledge of the case. Thinking that I was like, okay, at some point I'm going to go to Brazil and meet this family. I'm going to help the police. I thought it was going to be the other way around, but I ended up working with the family. And in the details of what happens in the book are going to blow your mind of what we were able to do. It's just like what the
and a lot of these people already knew you anyway from the first 48. I have no doubt, because they actually televise it down there in Brazil. Actually,
yeah.
I've had people send me the subtitled, the dubbed versions of it from Brazil specifically. So
in Italy they were aired a lot in Italy. But yeah, when we were touring Brazil, training, they already knew when we arrived in class who we were, because of it. So the classes were like packed, and there was a list of 100 people who wanted to attend our courses. But the importance of the networking is what make this, what makes this happen, and being prepared. They could have shut the door on me. The family could have said, no, we don't want your help, which we see a lot of. And that's why I had my conditions. I said, I gave them my conditions. You're going to listen to me, and if you're not going to listen to me, okay, I'm sorry, we can't work together. And we said, but they were in dire strait. They had nothing, and they have a police department in their city that were in control of the case, and it was, it was a shut case. But the book helps. Also, it's good for law students, CJ students, psychology students, and anyone who wants to understand how to run an investigation. How to put a case together and understand what the police are doing with their case and what they're not doing. So, and it's going to help a lot of families. I have no doubt that it really is going to help families and how to figure it out, how to get themselves out of the worst case scenario, possible scenario in their life, and how to rise from that tragedy.
Wow, that's amazing. I can't wait to read that book. I'm on the edge of my seat, ready to watch the movie. Are you going to have a book signing, or have you had book signings, or what you got going on there?
So we got I'm in a book tour now in Brazil, going to different cities. We've got a book fair coming up in one of the states here. It's one of their largest book fairs. About 80,000 people show up to that book fair. Wow. So I'm taking 1,000 books with me to that book fair. So I wrote the book in English, and then I had it translated to Portuguese, and then I found the local editor to help me, because it changes. Northern Brazil, Central Brazil, and Southern Brazil, they have their ways of speaking. So I had to do some editing here in Brazil. And then I have a book signing event in Miami, August 7th on a Friday. Then in November, I'll be at the Miami Book Fair. That's another big book fair in Miami. A lot of international people going. So, and then I got lined up like next week or 2 weeks from now. I have another podcast. So a lot of jumping podcasts now. People reaching out. So anybody that's out there doing a podcast like you, Jason, are doing, where we can spread the word about, the family and Beatriz and the impact that she lives with people after you finish reading the book. Because it's a book you're going to keep with you, and then you're obviously going to recommend to your friends. But it's almost like when I carry it around, it's like, I always have it with me. Whenever I have a difficult time, When something is challenging me, I think of her.
Wow.
And then what she says to me is, go ahead, but do it with persistence.
Wow.
She doesn't say the word don't give up, because when we're trying to motivate people, we don't want to tell them to use negative words. Don't do this, don't do that. Rather than use the opposite, positive is do it with persistence.
Wow.
So, and then, when I'm around Sandro and Beatrice's parents and Lucina, her mother, you think I'm going to complain that my knee hurts in front of them? Or that my ankle hurts?
Right.
No way.
Of course.
What that family has gone through. And then she intentionally puts herself through suffering to walk 800 kilometers in protest. And then I'm going to complain about my knee?
That's amazing.
So sometimes, we do because we do. We do these things. And we're saying that we're weak people, but every now and then we complain about the dumbest things in life. And there's so many people going through hell, man. And then it's your body can do extreme things.
Wow.
You train your mind and your body to surge ahead. And others, we educate ourselves. How are we going to get better and search and get answers that we're looking for if we don't know how to do it or ask the question? So what we put ourselves through a little bit of work. We educate ourselves a little bit more. We work harder, and then the answers come. They come. Then with that education, we know how to identify it. What we do next. I don't know what's going to happen when I walk these 800 kilometers.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it, and whatever comes my way, I'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So do it with persistence, man.
What great advice. That's amazing.
It is. Your website is freddyponce.com, right? Is that right?
Freddy Ponce, freddyponce.com and Criminal Investigations Training Group.com as well.
And you have your email there as well. But if people want to buy this book, I'm sure they can get it through your website or Amazon. Which do you prefer?
Amazon. Go straight to Amazon is the best, man. Go straight to Amazon. Some people are Ingram Spark members. They're the distributors of books that go to the stores nationwide. But Ingram Spark or Amazon.com. Yeah.
Do you have it on audiobooks yet, Freddie? I know it's different languages, but would that be do you have that?
Yeah, so yeah. So I launched on Amazon the beginning of June, and that audiobook process is it's pretty lengthy to put together. So yeah, I'm already talking with Audible and how to do it and get the right people on board to the Audible. The Audible process is pretty lengthy, a lot of hours involved in recording. So, yeah. Definitely, there's a lot of clientele. So it's available on Kindle as well. Yep.
Very good. All right, man. That sounds great. So you're in the process of working on a second book, but you're not getting into that tonight. But you are moving on, or you can mention it. I mean, if you want to mention it, kind of. I don't want to spill the beans, but.
Yeah, I don't know. I could show you a cover, but or I'll email it to you or something. I don't know how to show it to you, but yeah, I'm working on one. It's halfway through, but this whole book launching thing it's kind of like it's not giving me a chance to breathe, man. It's just to get back in it. But I did some lines, wrote some lines this morning, but it takes time. But when we're talking about structuring something to put it down on paper and write true stories, and if you want to do true crime, that's fine. People love true crime, and since we're researchers and investigators, it's not hard. It's just a long report, man. It's a long report. With the difference is with police reporting is that we're not allowed to write emotions or opinions in our reports. Very rarely would you see a police report with an opinion. You may get a blood spatter expert writing a report for an agency, and they write an opinion. They'll tell you that the impact was about 7 inches off the wall and coming in from a 10-degree angle, something like this. They'll tell you that. They'll give you, it was at this height that the impact came from. That's an opinion.
Yeah.
We as investigators cannot write opinion in our reports. We're only writing facts. I went here, I interviewed so-and-so, and this is what they said.
Yeah.
Not an opinion where I say, the person said this, but I think they really didn't mean that. We cannot write that in our report.
No, I've seen that.
Yeah, that's bad. It's really bad.
Oh, I know. I saw a report back in I've read this report once that this is 2 people that did this, and this is the reasons that I believe that it was 2 people. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a nightmare later in a courtroom setting. But,
yeah, writing opinions about it. You may be right about it, but that's something that when you're presenting, when you have a homicide case file report, you're presenting that to the prosecutor. The prosecutor is going to put 2 and 2 together because the other 2 is the crime scene report, and they're going to get the evidence and what you have in your report and what your witnesses say, and they're going to make the opinion of what happened here, what the charges are going to be. That's not our job.
Yeah.
That's not our job. That's the prosecutor's job. We're giving them a case in a silver platter for them to do. So, and that's it's a lot of problems. So,
well, when you finish that book, you'll have to come back and we'll talk about that and get that. I'll definitely put it out there on my podcast about this book in the future as well, whether you're here or not. And ladies and gentlemen, and now you see why. Now you see why he's like. He's big time, he's very impressive. And for him to be able to do that, that's not something that just any homicide detective is going to be able to do. And I'm going to say this, it's a lot of thinking outside of the box, Freddie, because, to be able to do that and go straight to the family because you're not getting anywhere there. I mean, that just doesn't happen. I mean, it is. I mean, it does happen to an extent when you're working these cases. Because you and I both know that you have to have the family on board for you to be able to get that information back and forth. It's paramount. But you did it a little bit beyond the norm, and especially when you're dealing with a country that's several hundred miles away from our country, and so forth, and a language barrier and all this, somewhat. I'm sure you spoke enough to get by, but golly, I mean, what an impressive journey. And like I said, we won't give away anything. People go buy the book, and if you're an investigator in here, I'm telling you right now that I think that when you look at his website, I think you're going to see that he offers a lot of training throughout. And if he's definitely open for you, if you wanted to host a training, I'm sure, and he would definitely come to you and so forth. And I'm sure you guys could work it out. And in
the book, when you buy the book, there'll be some QR codes in there that you'll be able to scan. And then I'm going to host a free summit on Zoom online for all the readers who've read the book. And then we'll get to meet with me and Beatriz's mother, and we'll get to answer everybody's questions what they may have about the book.
Okay.
That's cool. Maybe missing.
Oh, wow. What are you thinking about the time frame for that?
I'm giving it about 30 days from launch, from the launch dates. I've gotten already a bunch of calls from people. Listen, I finished reading the book. When are you going to do the free summit? And so they got it in the second day they finished reading the book. It's 300 pages. It's a quick book. Yeah. But the free summit, they'll be able to ask all the questions, and I'll have some questions for them because there's some subliminal messages in the book to see how they were able to analyze the case or not and what they were able to figure out.
Oh, awesome.
It's an investigative analysis for the book for the readers as well.
Well, that even makes it even more unique. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some secret little stories within the book to see if you can figure out what they are, and then at the free summit we'll meet and talk about it.
Nice. Very cool. I'm going to get my book. Danny's getting his, and I've noticed several of the other viewers is.
I'm ordering mine now.
Well, that sounds interesting. I don't know that I've ever heard of anybody ever doing that, where you're going to have like a summit where you could theoretically ask questions to not only the detective but to the mother of the victim. And so that's yet again, I think that's really outstanding that you're doing that. ladies and gentlemen, check out his website, check out the book. And if you're interested in some, Beatriz. And if you're interested in it's a story about, getting this family some justice and about love and all this, that, and the other. And I think that really impressive. I'm getting a lot of good comments from the people in the room, and Christine is definitely one of your big fans in this chat. She's a major. I think she's a student. She's a criminal justice student, and you've got to be her number one detective for sure. Karen, thanks for being in the room. Everybody else, I want to thank you all for being here. Some great comments, and check it out. Go back and check out his other podcasts that he did with me. It is an impressive journey, Meg. I think he's an impressive, and many people have said that he were the perfect guest for the 100th episode, and I agree. You were absolutely is a perfect fit. I want to thank everybody for being in here tonight. I want everybody to have a very safe and happy 4th of July holiday. Enjoy the 250th anniversary or birthday of our country, and it should be pretty extraordinary, honestly. And it's a big deal. 4th of July is a big deal, and I love this holiday. Do what?
I was just saying thank you to one of your guests.
Yeah, for sure.
Up there,
I'll tell you what. Hey, thanks a lot, Freddie. Hang around for a quick minute. Just don't click off of here. And thanks, Travis, for congratulating us on the 100th. I'm not stopping. I'm going to continue to bring some epic guests on here in the very near future. We've got some great people. I've been communicating with some today, actually, trying to get some stuff rolling. And it just never stops. There's so many exceptional people out there, and Freddie is definitely top tier. And thank you again, buddy. I appreciate it. And so forth. You're a friend. Absolutely.
This was awesome, man. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Thank you again, Phyllis, for that donation. It's not really a small one. It's a great donation. It's a donation that's going towards equipment, and I appreciate it. And thank you very much. To everybody else, remember, if you're listening on here and you didn't subscribe to this channel, I would appreciate it if you subscribe to this channel. And feel free to follow me and Freddie. Freddie's got pages. He's got an Instagram too. And check out his Instagram. Follow me on TikTok. Do you have a TikTok, Freddie?
I don't do the TikTok. Instagram, Facebook, Dr. Freddy Ponce.
Okay, Dr. Freddy Ponce on Facebook. I've got Detective Jason White on Facebook. It's pretty easy. So follow us both. We enjoy it. And I know that he posts content on there regularly, as I do as well. So until next week, because we're going to have a live episode next week, I sure hope to. Until next week, I want 100 more too, Phyllis, and I hope to. And until then, I just want like 15,000 followers would be great, or even more. But until next week, take us out, Amanda.